Great. So let me start by introducing myself. I'm a PISA, so Partner Solution Architect. We've got a new title every year, Microsoft. And I do work with a lot of ISVs, so particularly kind of early stage ISVs. And one of the hottest topics these days is all about generative AI. And I probably want to rename this title to be more cooking. It's best to actually talk about recipes, talk about something that we can relate on our day-to-day. So bear with me, and we'll try to sort of relate it to our day-to-day. But who's here from the audience tried building or interacting with OpenAI or Azure OpenAI or anyone or any of that components or technologies? Cool, awesome. What about, have you heard of LangChain? Or heard of it? Yeah. So Semantic Kernel is kind of similar to LangChain in that it helps stitch up various complex different interactivity from different parts of your application to be more rich, right? So there's a number of areas that we're going to touch a little bit on that. But let's step back a little bit and just talk about why this period of time, we call it era of AI, really matters. So this is that catch-up bottle moment. That's what John Maeder actually sort of said, in that when you want to get your sauce, get your ketchup, it needs that little bit of a nudge, a little bit of a push. And ChatGPT is just pretty much like that. So basically, that's really the catalyst for all of these buzz about AI. There's a lot of things to consider, and we really, at the moment, what we're really focusing on is building the what we call some sort of landing zone or some sort of guardrails. A lot of enterprises are quite hesitant in taking advantage of AI, and a lot of the kind of foundational and skeleton that we're building now, it's really our main focus. So we're not talking about the enterprise stuff because I'm in ISVs, but what I would like to talk about is a little bit about the what and why, and based on the work that I do day to day, what I've been sort of hearing from my ISV partners, on LLM development, how to get started, how to actually really go beyond the hype and really making it useful for your day-to-day use case. And then I'm going to talk about a little bit about what we call plugins, right? So basically, plugins is a concept where you can add some sort of helper methods or helper modules that can make your applications interacting to other parts of different applications and completely external services. So that's basically what we call plugins. And there will be so you probably heard about GPT Store, with an OpenAI and all that stuff. So there's a lot of buzz around that. And there's also a concept called plugins where you can actually build your own some sort of connectors that you can actually use and add it to your application. And then really talk about what's next. Again, I'm not here to talk to you about the whole saga about Sam Altman and anything that's happening in OpenAI. Can't really tell you that. But what I can tell you is this is an evolving field. So just looking at Semantic Kernel repo, we've got project team. It's open source, by the way. We've got a core project team that's working day in, day out. There's a lot of, at least, I would say, there's daily commits on that repo. So let's, I guess, since some of us are quite new in this case, I guess there's a lot of use cases. There's a lot of buzz on that, but we can sort of categorize them into 5 major categories here, right? Of what we're seeing anyway, and I'm more sort of focused on the own Copilot thing, right? Enterprise stuff, intelligent call centers, they're more for kind of established, large sort of organizations. Some of them, I would say, like in my sort of experience working with ISVs, I think you can sort of categorize them into sort of basic use case and advanced use case, right? So basic use case might be something that doesn't require state management, right? So maybe you just call an API, get an output, and then there you go. That's you get what it is. Prime example for that would be summarization. So summarization of whatever, right? So call centers, transcripts, whatever. It's very, very common, and it's very easy to implement. But as soon as you actually talk about states, and you need to talk about embeddings, you need to talk about memories, that's basically when things are getting a bit dicey, right? So things are going to get a bit more complex, and you need a bit more than just, calling the APIs directly and then kind of trying to maintain your way there. There's a lot of, probably you need a bit of a new tool to basically help with that. So this is where tools like LangChain and Semantic Kernel comes in, where and if you, again, this is the .NET community, so the only option that you've got if you want to use sort of a LangChain-like capability is Semantic Kernel, right? So Semantic Kernel supports .NET, and there's no other SDK at this moment, as far as I know anyway, that actually supports this whole LLM development. So if you're using .NET, this is the tool you've got. Cool. So with that out of the way, so again, I'm not going to talk about the what is a Copilot. You can read that yourself. So it's pretty much so we heard a lot about the buzz on Copilot, and we've got tons and tons of Copilot announcements in the last Ignite. You probably saw that, and everyone's got pretty much their own Copilot. Even Azure now, you can actually have Copilot next to you to kind of talk through about your costs, architecture, whatever it is. So yeah, so I'm going to skip that, but I'm just going to go straight to what I hear, what I heard from a lot of our partners, our ISVs, and really the key thing is that this whole LLM thing, it's so different in a way that we actually interacted before with what we call deterministic sort of technology. So you kind of build an API, you know what sort of output that you get. There might be some sort of analysis, some sort of runtime analysis. Whereas with this LLM, things can change, right? So you might actually put in something in Bing today, or Microsoft Copilot, and then next day you might actually put in the same prompt. Things might change a little bit because of the way the data is being trained and so on, right? So that's something that you have to keep in mind. And that is a big challenge for our ISV, because some of the scenarios that we're talking about, like some complex scenarios, they really need those kind of what we call some sort of guardrails, right? So being able to say, hey, I want the output to be in a certain way, in certain mechanism, and so on. And that is not easy to kind of do in LLM. And we've got this AI Studio, which is recently announced. There's a lot of announcements. Again, used to be called Azure OpenAI Studio, and now we sort of bundle everything into Azure AI Studio. But the playground, I'm not sure whether you guys played around with it, but the playground capabilities are quite limited in that, in a sense that you can only select from limited sources. You may there's recently new features around securing it, making it more secure using VPN and so on. But there's still some of the features that you need to be able to talk or interact with different applications like Jira or maybe like M365 or whatever application that you've got on your enterprise and your company might be something that you really want built into your application. So we need a way to really connect and extend services and solutions, right? Just like when I don't know, like if you build something that does something basic, just wrapper, like in your API, it doesn't do a lot because as an ISV, you really need to build something that's meaningful, that's kind of being able to connect to your data, do all those various smart things with your application. So this whole new kind of AI requires a different kind of approach, right? So it requires a new way of writing code that's a bit unfamiliar, as in like you got to be able to deal with non-deterministic thing, right? So there's a level of probability in there, but there's no way you can actually confirm or ensure that things are going to be the same every time. So you need some ways to control that. You also run into the limits of what it can't do out of the box. So you probably saw OpenAI release assistants recently. So there's an API that they built that kind of, I would say, abstract some of the things that you want. For example, if you want to upload a document, just an example, like I recently have a contract, like building a house, right? And there's a contract that you just want to upload and you want to ask some questions in there, right? So rather than paying someone to actually do it, let's give it ChatGPT a try. Again, it's not an advice, but it's something that worked for us. And you can do it in a limited way using Playground. With assistance, you don't actually have to do all of the hard plumbing, basic to heavy lifting to actually make that work. It has embedding, it has vectors, and all those various things that you can actually use as part of your application. But there's still limits. There's still limits in there. So, like, I think 20 pages a document or something like that, which you really need that Swiss knife army to be able to, customize your application to make it more, I guess, controllable. And again, you need your new tools to really 10x your value and velocity with AI. And just picture infinite chats, long-running tasks, bunch of connectors that you have to do, and you need a new way to kind of maintain that or manage that. And you can try using OpenAI directly and try to sort of build some integration that way. It's going to be really, really hard, right? So it's with that out of the way. So we want to make it easier for app devs. And again, this is not a data scientist's turf anymore, right? So this is something that we can play around with, and we build a number of tools. Microsoft built a number of tools, and Semantic Kernel is at the heart of that. And we do power some of the, in some shape or form, some of the tools that we're using right now, right? In the whole Microsoft ecosystem, Microsoft Copilot, there's some level of semantic kernel being used in that. So it's when you ask me about, has it been battle tested and all that stuff? Yes, it has, right? So it's been incorporated in some ways. By the way, there's a lot of breaking changes in version 1, so I don't want to give you a lot of hope. But there's a beta version that's recently came out that is really good release candidate for version 1. So that would be coming out soon. And these whole components are interchangeable. So if you want to use AI search, AI search is basically our new vector database, or cognitive search being rebranded with that. And you want to use, for example, Qdren database, or if you want to use Cosmos DB, PG Factor, or whatever it is, it's interchangeable. You can also use different LLMs as well. So Azure AI models. So if you want to change that to different models, you certainly can. So we want to make it interchangeable. We want to make it pluggable sort of models. That way, hey, to perform this task, I'm going to use the cheaper models, right? Like some SLM, we call it small language model, SLM. I think it's called Phi or something, PHI. We just released that in Ignite. So yeah, it's a bunch of options that you can use, and whatever makes you happy, really, is basically the idea here. Is that you want to make sure that we are making it interchangeable. So think about a scenario, right? So I want to go on a holiday, Hawaii, if I do have the cash at the moment, just no. And you want to find the best accommodation package for that. My budget is less than this amount, and book it at Expedia and add it to my calendar, right? So there's a bunch of stuff in here, right? And it needs a number of interconnections to different things, right? So you need to talk to basically search for it first, right? Search for it Bing, hopefully use Bing, and then also Expedia, where you need to book your trip, and then finally add it to my calendar. So there's a bunch of stuff there that you need to do. And again, forget about the bottom part, recall memory and all that stuff. That's pretty complex. But the idea is that it's all SDK. You can use it. It's all abstracted from you, right? Cool. So let's go a little bit deeper. Just again, the concept is there. Pretty much, that's the idea. But what we basically build in this semantic kernel is that we want to build orchestration, right? So basically, it's an orchestration tool that really catered for complicated LLM tasks. So if you have that particular sort of prompt that really needs to sort of interact with different things, it may not be just a single prompt, but it might be a task, and then somewhat it actually talks and raises a ticket in Jira or something like that. You can definitely use that. So we have this basically module, which is a .NET module in .NET anyway, that you can that is pretty much the heart of the whole orchestrator within semantic kernel. It's called Planner, and what it does, it allows you to I guess orchestrate different set of steps in order to achieve the goal, right? So in that case where you need to book accommodation and blah, blah, so there's going to be a planner that will actually orchestrate that, and it will actually come up with hey, here's a bunch of steps that I would like to propose, and call that thing. And we've got this powerful supercharger in a way, right? Plugins. So the plugins are really what make it possible for you to be able to interact with different applications, right? So the plugin can be, making a call to APIs, whatever, outside of your application. Again, this is a little bit more sort of a journey sort of thing. So so you ask something, and then the kernel kind of maintain that state, and it orchestrates that with a planner. So there's a bunch of steps ready from that planner. It starts with gathering plugins, understanding what memories, what sort of previous context and previous chats that you already asked, and then gather connectors, which is APIs there. And then finally, you execute them if you're happy with them, and then you'll get the result. So that's pretty much kind of the concept. Again, I'm not trying to go deep on that, but really the idea is that making it easy for you to be able to build out rich applications. And we talk a little bit about plugins. So this is what plugins. So this plugin is nothing more than really just a bunch of functions that you create, right? So you have native function. You also have semantic function, right? So in this case, so semantic function is basically what you can hear, what you can say. So basically, just like that symbols there, or the emojis there. Someone that can hear and receive a prompt, and you basically deal with that in a sort of natural language. And then native function is basically a little bit more complex, a little bit more sort of, not complex, a bit more intimate, where you can save information, you can look things up, you can make a call to different APIs and so on. So so that's pretty much the whole thing about the whole talk about this. The whole thing about this talk is about making it easy for you to interact with different apps. So I'll stop there. Any questions or any comments that you have, or anything you may have tested that you want to know more or explore? Otherwise, I might just go straight to quick demos, because I know we don't have a lot of time. I'll just give you a quick overview of what it could look like, right? So from a architecture point of view, this whole SDK thing, it's just something that you use in your application, right? You still need the building blocks. You still need the actual services, Azure services, in order for you to actually build the application. And in this case, what we have, effectively, orchestration is at the heart of that, right? So you're going to build, say, a chatbot application. So it's very, very much a simple one. And then you've got a front end, and you sort of abstract that with API management, where you actually maintain different APIs, and one of them is orchestration API. So any inputs that you put in or requests that you do get, whatever posts, that will go through the orchestration API, and that uses what we call the planner, and the planner will then execute it and run a bunch of plugins. Whatever plugins that is, it's really up to you how you want to build it and so on. So we make it easy for everyone else, as you can see soon anyway. So I've got a sample app. It's very simple. I haven't actually run it yet, so I have to actually do that. Hopefully it's not too long. And is just a sample thing. Got Jira here, for example. Someone want to get an issue from Jira, and I've got the issue, and then this one is GitHub. Hey, I want to get a list of PRs. I believe this one. Yep, PRs for that. And then proceed with it. And then we have what we call, ecosystem of plugins, right? One thing that we want to make, our goal is to basically strive towards a single interface. As in, if you build plugin for Semantic Kernel, well, not really. You build plugin for other apps, or ChatGPT, or M365 Copilot, or Bing. You only build it once, and then you can deploy it to different places. So that's kind of the main goal for this with Semantic Kernel. So it's easy for you to just call different parts or different functions in there. So cool. All right. So with that, I've got a very simple demo, a simple scenario. You basically build a custom plugin. And by the way, we've got a global hackathon at the moment. If you're interested, a global hackathon plugins as part of Semantic Kernel office hours. If you're interested in wanting to build plugin and win some prizes, you can as well. So we have this plugin here, and what it does two things. Search on the Bing. Again, hopefully you guys use Bing. And then number two is to do a summarization of that, right? So, hey, give me the latest spot news. Who's the Queen of England? Whatever it is, right? And then we'll find out. Cool. Alrighty. Show me the code. So that's basically where the code there. I've already published it yesterday. Hopefully there's no bugs. We'll see. And I'll give that a try. Hopefully you guys can bear with me here. Yeah, so there's few parts here so that I wanted to sort of run through with you guys. Number one is that I'll probably just better to hopefully can just show you guys with this one. Legible enough? More? Cool? Better? All right, cool. Let's see how we go. So I've got a plugin here. Let me just run that. Again, I'm not going to be showing this, but I've got basically a Chat Copilot app. The Chat Copilot app is a reference application for Semantic Kernel that's already built with a bunch of bells and whistles of Semantic Kernel. So you want to try different planners, different types of planners, and plugins where you can actually test your plugin for free, by the way. So if you actually want to do that in ChatGPT, you have to pay for it as well. So just letting you know that. And yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff here. So let me just start that. Okay, so I'll start the backend first. It's just .NET application, .NET Core 6 at the moment, so we haven't upgraded it yet. But yeah, shouldn't be too hard. And then I'll start the front end. And that should hopefully start. And then also I'm going to run through, this one is good. I'm going to run through this plugin here as well. So with this one, I can run it in here. .NET build. I'll probably just go straight .NET run. Oh yeah, just do code. That's fine. I'll just show you that, you guys, what it's like. Yeah, so basically we have a just bunch of folder structure in here. Hopefully I can zoom in. More. Control plus, right? Yeah. Control plus, you're sure in Mac is the same one? Cool. So hopefully you guys can see it. This basically we use Open API, so it's pretty quick to build, and it's already got Swagger. Obviously, it's the standard thing. But a couple of things I wanted to highlight is that, when we talk about semantic function, basically you just need two files with semantic function or the plugin that you want to build. Basically two files. So basically config.json, where you provide the parameters that you want to pass into your LLM. In this case, description or summarize given text or any text document, text to summarize, and so on. And then the max tokens, temperature, and so on, right? And then we have skprom.txt in here. So it's really just, hey, what do you want the actual function to perform, right? So this is actually all in English. So it's all, natural language, right? So I've got a little thing here like summarization rules, don't waste words, blah, blah, blah. And the key thing here, summarize this input, which is that parameter that we pass in from previous search functionality that we have, right? So let's just give that a try first. Okay, I'll just go run, start debugging. Should be able to do that. And yeah, that should actually run. If not, we have a look at the actual thing in here. Let's go scripts. That should be good. Yep, so that's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to open up the window of the Chat Copilot. All right, so we've got this Chat Copilot here, right? So this is just again, a test bed, if you will, of the plugins that you can actually try. And this is where you add the plugins in here. You can upload documents as well. So there's actually have some memories built in as well in there. You can use different vector database as well, right? So if you have Kudron, you've got AR search, and so on, and it can query your document right away. And there's a bunch of stuff here that, meta prompts. So this is basically, whenever you actually pass into your, I don't know if you ask ChatGPT, right? They can give you some random, we call it hallucinations. So important to actually give some sort of parameters or some sort of guardrail. We call it few shots, right? Where you can actually say something to your to LLM to basically, hey, to behave in a certain way, right? So that's really what it is. And let's see. Hopefully the plugin is running. Where is the plugin? Maybe this one. Okay. Okay, plugin is running, which is good. So it's a function app in here. And let me just go ahead and do this. Again, apologies. You guys can see that okay? Need to Control plus again. Do add custom plugins. So basically, it comes with a bunch of built-in plugins. right? In here. So Microsoft Graph, Jira, GitHub. For those who like shopping, Klarna, by the way. So it can actually go search Klarna and do that. And we can add custom plugin here. And how do I actually get the thing here? So I'll just go straight to that. You can actually just copy and paste this one. Summarize, which is this post here. Go add that and find the manifest file. Again, it uses Swagger, right? So you can actually access the Swagger as well in here. So I'll just go prove that with you as well. Yep, so it's got that in there. So it's got two functions in here, API endpoints, summarize and web search function. And then from here, I'll just add the plugin, and plugin added successfully, and then I enable it. So you need to enable it in order for the planner to use that. And I'll show you kind of when it's not enabled and when it's disabled and so on. Okay, so let's ask something. What do you guys want to ask? Anything? Or anything that requires web search would be nice, you know. Is Santa real? Okay. That's going to be... So that will probably not going to need thing, but let's see. Let's see how we go. Yeah, there you go. All right. So this is the planner, right? So what the planner does is effectively putting together the functions. We've got search and we've got summarize. Those two functions. And then it searches the web for the given query. Give me the results of 10 in this case, and then summarize the given text or any document. So would you like to proceed with the plan? Again, yes, proceed. And let's see what Santa, so let's, oh, there you go. All right. There you go. You're right. Yeah, so that's something that we probably haven't really put it in the right prompt in there. But one thing that's really cool is that, you know, really something that I just, you know, who is the Queen of England? I think that's pretty cool. Oh, King of England, sorry. Yeah, just try. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then see whether it actually gets the latest info. Oh, there you go. That's not right. So let's just see if I can actually disable that. What was that? Who's the England is Queen? Yeah, that's not right. Okay, so this is something that I've already tried before. What is the latest sport news last week? From last week. Say that. Number of results probably a bit more than 1. Change that to 5. Yes, proceed. I'm pretty sure I got the screenshots from the previous one. It worked. So I don't know why this one doesn't seem to do. Yeah, this does happen. But anyway, I'll probably see if I can test this first. Where is this? Get search, query, try it out. Yep, number of results 5. And then execute, make sure that the API actually works. There you go. So yeah, it does actually work. But then the thing here is that the idea is that we copy and paste this one here, and then we try to summarize it in this whole function. Let's do that. Oop, not the right copy and paste. Yeah. Okay. There you go. So it actually summarizes that and get rid of all the garbage in there, and then you can actually see that the whole function actually works. The plugins, I'll see if I disable that, and then ask it again. Again, this whole demo. And there was by the way, there's a bunch of commits that I haven't actually downloaded, so there might be some bug fixes in there. Here's the Queen of England. Try that again. Yeah, that's not right, which is something that is actually expected. But let me just enable the plugin again. But yes, I think this will still be an error in there. Cool. Let me just try that. Make it 5. Yep, and then proceed. There you go. Nah, it's still not able to do that. So yeah, there's some work to be done on that. There must be demo God doesn't work for us today. Sorry? What's for dinner tonight? You want to ask that? Well, that would be that doesn't require the planner, or as in like knowledge after January the 1st. What's for dinner tonight? Yeah, so it'd just be a bunch of LLM that you actually just do that. You don't need a search for that.
I have a question.
Yep. Oh, there you go. It works. Thanks. Thanks for asking that question. Cool. Sorry, was that George?
I mean, if someone want to develop like a plugin,
Yeah.
as a business, or develop or integrate with like any company that you work for, my question is whether they should deploy those plugins on Azure. What's
Okay.
the best option of deployment for those plugins? If they're going to be running like millions of calls for this, every time someone uses on Bing or ChatGPT,
Yeah.
you want to develop a plugin means that could be hundreds of millions of calls.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bit of a tricky question, but I can see where you're going. But yeah, so everything that we do, like with OpenAI infrastructure, Bing, and everything else, it runs on AKS. So something to keep in mind as well. So it's it's a large, obviously scalable infrastructure. Again, this whole thing, plugins and all that stuff. Currently, we have pinned around mid-December for the first release of Semantic Kernel. So that would be our long-term, hopefully stable release. And that's basically where there shouldn't be any breaking changes to it. But there's really a nice. So in terms of what's next, so let me just go back to the slide. Really nice research from Microsoft Research around multi-agents. So basically, you can interact. You can have like a team working for you, right? So you have the world of agents, we call that. So say if you want to plan a trip, you may not be the only person that knows everything about the trip. You might want to delegate it to a specialist, like a booking specialist, or to travel planner, whoever that is. You can actually create different agents that can interact and then sort of orchestrate all that together with you, and then together for you, and then present the results and the output to you in a more thing. So yeah, so that's basically in there. So I won't be reading that because I know that Jensen will be very happy with that. It is in his interest to actually say this for sure. But yeah, we have Semantic Kernel Office Hours. This is a community work similar to what Will is doing. So we have office hours every fortnight, NZ, for NZ and APAC, 12 a.m. actually tomorrow. So yeah, please dial in and bring in everyone. It's all open for public. So
Demos tomorrow?
there's some demos, yes, potentially. We'll see. Cool. All right, so that's pretty much it for me. Any questions? Any thoughts apart from the demo that didn't work?
So we can get all the code for your demo.
The buggy code, yes. Yes. Yeah, it's all there. I'll put it in there. So we actually have a hackathon thing that if anyone wants to do that, it's a starter thing. So, yeah. Cool. Yeah, and there's a bunch of last commits. I saw that in the past 4 hours, so there might be bug fixes for it. So, yeah. There you go. Cool. Thank you.